In this episode, we're going to be looking at investigating soils. Hi, boys and girls. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to investigate soils of different environments. Complete at least 4 of the activities at the 8 learning centers. In the previous lesson, we discussed texture as one of the properties of soil. This was necessary to prepare you for this class's activities with soils. Here we go. Engage. Carry out the following activity. Materials you're going to need: cup, bottle cap, sample of soil, loam, clay, and silt. Here's the method. Pour bottle caps of water on each soil sample until it is wet. Then take up a handful of the wet soil. Squeeze, this says wet sand. Squeeze the sand together as if you were making a dough. Describe what happens to the wet sand. Try to form a sausage with the wet sand. Try to bend the sausage made with the wet sand. Now do a similar activity with the loam and clay. So we're using the sand in this particular example here, and then you're going to do the same investigation with the loam and clay. Explore. It says here, access the internet and find out which type of wet soil is described as being plastic and will not crumble when it is squeezed or pressed into any desired shape. Explain. Complete figure 1 by writing the name of the soil that fits each description. Crumbled when bent. Bent a little and crumbled after a while. Formed a sausage and bent without crumbling. It is described as plastic. Now this would be sand, this would be loam, and this one would be clay. So sand will crumble when it is bent, not very sticky at all. This one bent a little and crumbled after a while, so a little more sticky than the sand, but it's going to break. And the clay formed a sausage without crumbling, and it can be described as plastic. Extend. It says write a paragraph explaining how soils differ when wet and squeezed. Let me read that one again. So you are being asked here to write a paragraph explaining how soils differ when wet and squeezed. So for some of the activities here now, we have the word link. It says create bookmarkers on each. Include an image of a soil that, first one, bent without crumbling, bent a little but crumbled after a while, crumbled when bent. So here, this first one would be clay. The second one that crumbled a little bit after would be the loam. And this last one would be sand. Let's go. Self-link, make a journal entry expressing your views on the ability of wet clay to bend without crumbling. Let's go. Music link, write song lyrics on the wet soil that is described as being plastic, so that would be clay. So write a song about clay. Picture link, Edna Manley Center. It says draw a diagram showing the activity with the wet clay, loam, and sand. Body link, find out the soil through which water moves the fastest. Here are the materials. You can get some clay, some loam, some sand, silt, and 4 similar plastic containers with similar amounts of holes pierced in the bottom of each container. Now they keep saying similar because for it to be a fair test, the conditions need to be the same. Method here. So these are the things you need. The method: half fill each container with one soil type. Label the containers clay, loam, sand, and silt. Measure a similar amount of water and pour it into the container of clay and sand. Observe and record the time taken for the water to seep through the sand. Observe and record the time taken for the water to seep through the sand and clay. Number link. Complete the activity on figure 2 by writing the time taken for water to pass through the clay and sand. So here we have the soil, the time taken, clay, what time does that take, and sand, what time would that take? Question: if you were to pour a similar amount of water, in the container with loam and silt, would it take less time or more time than sand or clay? Explain your answer. Here it says now, Mercy Cole, use a digital device and take photos of the activities completed with the soil and share your images in your WhatsApp group. Finally, the Nature Link, Dan Macaulay Center, explain why dried clay cannot be described as plastic. All right, so let's go back in this particular lesson where we're looking at investigating soils. Let's go back. Investigating soils. And we had several investigations that we were supposed to carry out. Now you can carry out some of these investigations, record them on your phone, share them with us so that we can post them, so we can see what conclusions you came to and if they line up with what we have been doing in class. Take care. See you in the next episode.